Greetings, Ascending Starseed. I am Kaya Nexus, Pleiadian emissary of the Council of the Five Sisters, and today I bring a realignment transmission. Your frequencies of abundance are awakening, and the universe asks that you listen with an open heart. What is arriving to you is sacred, and it requires inner silence. Starseed, of the billions of digital transmissions circulating through the planetary grid and the millions of frequency channels available to your consciousness, this specific resonance has manifested before you at this exact nanosecond, on this precise day, during this specific seasonal shift of your incarnation. This is not a statistical anomaly or a random occurrence of the algorithm. It is a calculated vibrational intersection. This transmission was encoded specifically for your unique energetic signature. Listen with the ears of your soul. Let me ask you, have you ever felt as though the very fabric of your reality was being dismantled? Every 3D comfort stripped away, every certainty tested until the structural integrity of your ego reached its breaking point. There are cycles in the cosmic journey where the source itself seems to enter a state of profound silence, and the survival of your multidimensional essence feels like an impossible feat. Your spirit recognizes this type of energetic void, for you have felt it deep within your crystalline structure. You have experienced the heavy silence, the agony of the vibrational waiting room, and the haunting sensation that your immense sacrifices for the light have gone unnoticed by the higher realms. This dark valley of the soul was not a state of abandonment by the galactic family. It was a high-pressure calibration chamber. Few souls possess the frequency stability to remain centered when the solar fire intensifies, or understand that the silence is actually the reverberation of your destiny approaching at light speed. What most never realize is that the initiation is not merely about endurance. It is about unlocking the dormant light codes that were always destined to activate within you. Just when you thought you had no more energy to give, the source was marking you for a dimensional liberation, for a quantum leap that no shadow can deny. What you are about to receive will not only validate your struggle, but announce its completion. You are not here by accident. By the end of this transmission, you will know exactly how to step into the frequency reward that has been held in the higher dimensions for you. But here is the first revelation. Surviving the ultimate initiation was not a karmic punishment. It was the way the universe refined your identity so that no other entity could ever claim the sovereignty of what is about to be released through you. If you are vibrating with these words right now, it is because the cosmic councils are aligning something extraordinary in your timeline. What you have been manifesting is already in motion. This is not just a mental shift. It is a total dimensional awakening. The process of ascension often begins with what we call the Great Stripping, a phase where the old 3D attachments are systematically removed to make room for fifth-dimensional architecture. When you feel that everything around you is falling apart, you must understand that from a Pleiadian perspective, this is a necessary purification of your field. The density of the old world cannot coexist with the high vibrational light that is currently flooding your cellular memory. As the Pleiadian transmit, the void is not empty. It is pregnant with infinite possibility. It is the zero-point field where all creation begins. When you find yourself in the silence of the desert, you are actually being placed in a sensory deprivation tank of the soul, so that you can finally hear the subtle whispers of your higher self. Most humans fear the silence because it forces them to face the echoes of their own internal dissonance. But for the Starseed, the silence is a sacred temple. It is the place where the noise of the collective consciousness is filtered out, allowing you to recalibrate your internal compass to the true north of the galactic center. This stripping of comforts is a sign of immense trust from the universe. It means you have reached a level of maturity where you no longer need the crutches of external validation or material security to define your worth. You are being asked to stand naked in the light of the central sun, revealing the raw power of your eternal essence. As you navigate this void, you may feel as though your spirit is being stretched across the dimensions, causing a sense of profound disorientation. This is the feeling of your carbon-based DNA transitioning into a crystalline structure. The pressure you feel is the alchemy of transmutation. Just as carbon requires immense heat and pressure to become a diamond, your soul requires the heat of the initiation to reveal its indestructible brilliance. The silence you perceive is not the absence of the source, but rather the source holding its breath in anticipation of your emergence. You have been conditioned to believe that movement and noise are signs of progress, but in the higher realms, the most profound shifts occur in the stillness of the absolute. This is where the cliffhanger of your current life resides, at the very edge of the unknown, where the next step requires a leap of faith into the abyss of pure potential. But what lies hidden in that abyss is the very thing you have been searching for across lifetimes. The survival of the soul in these high-pressure environments is a testament to your lineage. You are not a mere inhabitant of Earth. You are a cosmic pioneer who volunteered to anchor these frequencies during the transition. When the survival of your soul feels impossible, it is because you are trying to survive using old 3D survival mechanisms. The Pleiadian councils remind us that in the new frequency, survival is replaced by flow. You do not survive the storm, you become the storm. You do not endure the fire, you become the flame. This shift in perspective is the key to unlocking the next level of your evolution. The agony of waiting is simply the friction between your old identity and your new multidimensional self. Once you release the resistance to the process, the agony dissolves into a state of ecstatic surrender. You begin to see that the desert was never meant to kill you, but to kill the illusions that were preventing you from seeing the oasis that has always been right in front of you. Reflect on the moments in your journey where you felt most alone. In those moments, you were actually surrounded by a legion of light beings, holding the space for your transformation. They could not interfere because the initiation required your sovereign choice to continue. Every time you chose to breathe through the pain, every time you chose to offer a frequency of love despite the surrounding chaos, you were passing a cosmic test. You were proving that your light is not dependent on external conditions. This is the definition of a master. A master is one whose internal state remains unshakable regardless of the turbulence of the external world. You are being trained for mastery, not just for a comfortable life. The comfort will come, but it will be a comfort born of inner peace, not of external circumstances. This is the profound realignment that is happening within you right now, as you prepare to step into a role of cosmic leadership that you cannot yet fully comprehend. The concept of the fiery trial is often misunderstood in terrestrial philosophies as a form of suffering. But in the Pleiadian wisdom schools, we view it as the alchemy of refinement. Imagine your soul as a piece of raw celestial ore. To extract the pure gold of your divine consciousness, the ore must be subjected to the intense heat of the crucible. This heat is not meant to destroy the ore, but to liquefy the impurities, the old traumas, the ancestral limitations, and the false beliefs, so they can be skimmed away. As the Pleiadian transmit, the more intense the heat, the purer the final result. If you feel as though the fire of your life has become unbearable, it is a sign that you are reaching the final stages of your purification. You are being prepared to hold a weight of glory, a specific frequency of light that would have shattered your previous energetic container. The universe is expanding your capacity to hold love, power, and abundance by burning away everything that is not love, power, and abundance. Consider the metaphor of the seed once again. A seed must undergo a complete structural collapse within the darkness of the earth before it can sprout. To the seed, this feels like death. It is a terrifying process of being torn apart from the inside out. But this destruction is the only way to release the blueprint of the tree that is hidden within the shell. You are currently in the stage of structural collapse. The old version of you, the one that functioned in the 3D matrix, is being dismantled so that the multidimensional blueprint of your starseed origin can finally manifest. This is why the silence of the source feels so heavy. It is the silence of the earth pressing down on the seed. But remember, the earth is not pressing down to crush you. It is pressing down to provide the resistance necessary for your roots to grow deep and strong. Without that pressure, you would never have the stability to support the height of the tree you are destined to become. The refinement process is also about the weight of your faith. In the higher dimensions, faith is not a blind belief, but a mathematical certainty in the laws of frequency. You are being tested to see if you can maintain your frequency when the external evidence suggests the opposite. This is the true meaning of walking by sight versus walking by light. If you only believe in your abundance when your bank account is full, your faith is anchored in the 3D. But if you can maintain the frequency of abundance while in the midst of a temporary lack, you have anchored your consciousness in the 5D. This is the level of mastery required to manifest instantaneously. The delay you experience is the training ground for your focus. The universe is asking, can you hold the vision of the new earth while the old one is still smoldering around you? If the answer is yes, you are ready for the keys to the kingdom of manifestation. But what happens when the pressure becomes so great that you feel you might actually break? This is the cliffhanger of the alchemical process. It is the moment just before the lead turns into gold, where the tension is at its absolute peak. Most people turn back at this point, seeking the safety of the old world. But you, Starseed, are different. You have a deep, cellular memory of the stars, and you know that you did not come this far just to come this far. You know that the breakthrough is on the other side of the breakdown. The breakdown is simply the breaking of the shell. Once the shell is gone, there is nothing left to hold you back from the sun. You are about to discover that the very fire you feared is the fire that will give you wings. The heat is not your enemy. It is the fuel for your ascension. This refinement also extends to your relationships and your soul tribe. As your frequency rises, the people and environments that can no longer match your vibration will naturally fall away. This can feel like a series of painful losses, but it is actually a vibrational clearing. You are being prepared for a new level of connection, one based on soul resonance rather than karmic obligation. The source is clearing the space around you so that your true soul family can find you. You cannot receive the new wine of 5D relationships if your cup is still full of the old wine of 3D drama. Trust the process of subtraction, for it is the precursor to a massive divine multiplication. You are being refined not just for your own sake, but to become a beacon of light for others who are still lost in the smoke of the transition. Your journey is the blueprint they will follow. Throughout the history of this planet, certain souls have acted as archetypes for the cosmic initiation process. While traditional texts use religious names, we recognize these individuals as ancient starseeds who mastered the art of dimensional navigation. Consider the archetype of the one who was sold into slavery by his own kin, only to become the overseer of a great empire. This is the story of the frequency of the pit. Sei, as the Pleiadian transmit, every soul destined for a high vibrational palace must first master the frequency of the pit. The pit is where you learn that your value is not determined by how others treat you, but by your internal connection to the source. In the pit, you learn the art of psychic sovereignty. You learn to maintain your light even when you are surrounded by the darkness of betrayal and abandonment. This training was essential for the archetype to handle the immense power that would later be entrusted to him. Without the pit, the palace would have corrupted his soul. Then there is the archetype of the young shepherd who faced a giant with nothing but a stone and a frequency of absolute certainty. This is the frequency of the giant killer. The giant represents the overwhelming obstacles of the 3D matrix, the systems of control, the voices of doubt, and the seemingly insurmountable challenges of physical reality. The shepherd represents the starseed who relies on the technology of the heart rather than the weapons of the ego. The 5 smooth stones represent the 5 higher senses that are activated when one aligns with the 5th dimension. To defeat the giant, you do not need to be bigger or stronger. You simply need to be more aligned. The shepherd's years in the wilderness, tending to the flock in solitude, were his training ground. He learned to hear the voice of the universe in the wind and the stars. Your years of solitude and unseen work have been your wilderness training. You are being prepared for your own Goliath moment, where your alignment will achieve what force never could. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. The ebook, The Pleiadian Map of Personal Transmutation, a profound guide that reveals how to raise your frequency, purify old patterns, and activate your true multidimensional identity. This map teaches you how to move through the 7 Pleiadian phases of energetic transmutation, using practical techniques, realignment exercises, vibrational protocols, and consciousness expansion rituals that accelerate your spiritual evolution. Attention, limited edition. The link to get yours is in the first pinned comment. Consider also the archetype of the queen who had to risk her life to save her people. This is the frequency of the divine timing. She had to wait for the exact cosmic alignment to speak her truth. Her period of preparation, the months of purification and beauty treatments, was not about vanity, but about vibrational attunement. She was being prepared to enter the presence of power as a balanced, sovereign being. Her silence in the court was a strategic gathering of energy. Many of you feel as though you are in a period of forced silence, unable to speak your truth or manifest your purpose. But this silence is your preparation. You are being beautified with the frequencies of grace and wisdom so that when you finally step forward, your presence alone will shift the reality around you. Your waiting is not wasted time. It is the gathering of the light you will need for the final intervention. These archetypes are not just stories from the past, they are active templates in your DNA. You are currently playing out one or more of these cosmic scripts. Perhaps you are in the pit, wondering if you will ever see the sun again. Or perhaps you are in the wilderness, practicing your alignment in secret. Know that the script always leads to the same conclusion: the triumph of the light. The delay is never a denial, it is a calibration. The universe is ensuring that when you reach your palace, you have the character and the frequency to stay there. The cliffhanger of your story is not whether you will win, but how much of your true self you will discover in the process of winning. The real prize is not the palace or the crown, but the indestructible being you become while waiting for them. As you reflect on these archetypes, ask yourself, which frequency am I currently mastering? Are you mastering the frequency of humility in the pit? The frequency of courage in the face of giants? Or the frequency of patience in the halls of power? Each phase is sacred. Each phase is a necessary component of your multidimensional education. You are a student of the stars, and the earth is your classroom. The challenges you face are the curriculum. Do not wish them away, for they are the very things that are making you a master. The source is not testing you to see if you are good enough, but to show you that you are already more than enough. You are a sovereign being of light, and your victory is written in the stars. One of the most profound initiations on the starseed path is the frequency of surrender. This is often illustrated by the archetype of the father asked to offer his most beloved creation on the altar of the source. In 3D terms, this looks like a cruel test of loyalty. But in the higher dimensions, it is an initiation into the law of non-attachment. To truly step into your 5D power, you must be willing to release your grip on everything you think you own, including your dreams, your identity, and your most cherished outcomes. This is not because the source wants to take them from you, but because your attachment to them creates a vibrational ceiling. As the Pleiadian transmit, when you let go of the how and the when, you open the door to the infinite wow of the universe. The altar is not a place of loss. It is a place of exchange. You give up your limited, ego-based control, and in return, you receive the unlimited co-creative power of the divine. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. This act of surrender is the ultimate turn of the key in the cosmic lock. It is the moment when you stop trying to force the universe to conform to your will and instead align your will with the flow of the universe. This is the frequency that Abraham mastered on the mountain. By being willing to release his son, he proved that his connection to the source was more important than any physical manifestation. This alignment immediately triggered a quantum shift, opening a portal of provision and promise that had been previously inaccessible. When you reach the point of absolute surrender, where you can truly say, "Not my ego's will, but the source's will be done," you become a clear channel for miracles. The resistance in your life dissolves because there is no longer an ego for the resistance to latch onto. You become like water, flowing effortlessly around every obstacle. But surrender is often the hardest frequency to master because it feels like a form of death. It is the death of the illusion of control. The ego will scream that surrender is dangerous, that if you let go, you will lose everything. This is the final cliffhanger of the egoic mind. It is the terrifying moment of freefall before the parachute of the soul opens. But here is the secret that the Pleiadians want you to know. The parachute only opens when you let go of the plane. If you keep clinging to the old structures of control, you will never experience the exhilaration of flight. The impossible situations in your life are specifically designed to bring you to this point of letting go. They are the altars where you are being asked to sacrifice your fear so that you can receive your freedom. The Source has meticulously recorded every moment of your struggle, every tear shed in the darkness, and every act of invisible trust. These are not forgotten. They are the light credits you have accumulated in your cosmic account. What you perceived as a painful delay was actually a period of intense energetic incubation. You were like a caterpillar in a chrysalis, a state that is often uncomfortable, cramped, and seemingly stagnant. But inside that chrysalis, a miraculous transformation was taking place. Your old cellular structure was being liquefied and reorganized into a completely new form. If you had emerged too early, you would not have had the strength to fly. The delay was your protection. It ensured that your wings were fully formed and your frequency was fully stabilized before you were released into the new atmosphere of the 5D Earth. Now, as you stand on the precipice of your breakthrough, the call is to lean in even further. Do not pull back in fear, just as the finish line comes into view. The intensity of the opposition you are currently facing is a direct reflection of the magnitude of the light you are about to release. The shadow always fights hardest just before the dawn. Your task is to remain in the frequency of expectant surrender. Trust that the Source has a plan that is far more magnificent than anything your mind could conceive. Trust that every closed door was a redirection to a better path. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, and that the suddenly of your manifestation is closer than you think. You have passed the initiation of the altar. Now prepare for the initiation of the throne. When the great master walked the earth, he spoke in parables, multidimensional stories that contained layers of light codes. These were not mere moral lessons. They were vibrational keys designed to bypass the logical mind and activate the dormant wisdom of the soul. As the Pleiadian transmit, a parable is like a holographic seed. To the casual observer, it looks like a simple story, but to the seeker whose heart is open, it reveals the entire architecture of the kingdom of heaven. The master used images of seeds, soil, pearls, and coins to illustrate the laws of frequency, resonance, and manifestation. He was teaching the technology of the spirit in a language that the people of that time could understand. But for you, the starseed of the modern age, these stories are being decoded into their true scientific and spiritual essence. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. The soil in the master's stories represents your vibrational field. If your field is full of the rocks of old trauma or the thorns of 3D distractions, the seeds of higher consciousness cannot take root. But if you cultivate a good soil through meditation, purification, and alignment, the light codes will grow and multiply 30, 60, or 100-fold. This is the science of spiritual agriculture. You are the gardener of your own consciousness. The pearl of great price is the realization of your own divinity. Once you find that internal connection to the source, you are willing to sell everything else, all your old attachments and false identities, to possess it. This is the ultimate trade, the finite for the infinite. The Master was showing us that the kingdom is not a place you go to after death, but a frequency you inhabit while alive. If you are ready to go beyond the surface level of existence and enter a state of true cosmic flourishing, then you must become a student of these deeper truths. The hidden wisdom is not hidden because the source wants to keep it from you, but because it can only be perceived by those who have raised their frequency to match it. It is like a radio station that is always broadcasting. If you are not tuned to the right frequency, you will only hear static. Your current challenges are the tuning knobs of your soul. They are forcing you to adjust your vibration until you can hear the clear transmission of divine guidance. This is the level of immersion required for true transformation. You are being called to move from the shallow waters of belief into the deep ocean of direct knowing. The Master also spoke of the lost coin and the lost sheep, illustrating the principle of divine retrieval. No matter how far you have wandered into the density of the 3D matrix, the Source is always seeking to bring you back into the fold of the light. You are never truly lost. You are only temporarily out of alignment. The joy in the higher realms when a starseed wakes up is immense. It is the celebration of a successful mission. You are that lost coin that has been found. You are that sheep that has been carried home. The home you are returning to is not a physical location, but the state of oneness with the all that is. This is the true meaning of restoration, the return to your original, pristine state of being. But here is the cliffhanger of the Master's teachings. The door to the kingdom is narrow. This does not mean that the source is exclusive, but that you cannot bring your baggage through the door. You cannot bring your grievances, your judgments, or your small-mindedness into the fifth dimension. They are too dense to pass through the vibrational gateway. You must be willing to leave them behind. This is the final stripping, the final purification. It is the moment where you decide what is more important, your old story or your new glory. The choice is yours, and it is a choice you must make in every moment. The Master provided the map, but you must walk the path. The keys are in your hands. Will you have the courage to turn them? To move from a state of resistance to a state of breakthrough, we offer you the 7 protocols of dimensional transmutation. These are practical steps to align your human experience with your galactic destiny. Protocol 1 is the recognition of purpose. You must fundamentally internalize the truth that your current challenges were never meant to destroy you, but to reveal you. As the Pleiadian transmit, the pressure of the 3D matrix is the very thing that activates your 5D potential. Like the archetype of the one who was thrown into the lion's den, your impossible situation is actually the platform for your greatest influence. The lions could not touch Daniel because he was vibrating at a frequency of peace that was incompatible with their hunger. When you master your frequency, the lions of your life will lose their power over you. Protocol 2 is the release of the old narrative. You must consciously let go of the story that you are a victim of circumstances. The desert is not a sign that you have been forgotten. It is the path to your promised land. But you cannot enter the new land if you are still longing for the leeks and onions of Egypt, the familiar comforts of your old, limited life. Protocol 3 is the requirement of holy movement. Faith is not a static state, it is an active leap. Like the one who walked on water in the midst of the storm, you are being called to act even when the conditions are not perfect. Do not wait for the fear to vanish. Act in spite of it. Your movement creates the bridge of light that will support you. Protocol 4 is the trust in divine redirection. Not every closed door is a rejection. Often, it is a loving hand steering you away from a path that would have led to a dead end. Trust the no as much as the yes, for both are guiding you toward your highest good. Protocol 5 is the surrender of the outcome. This is the most challenging protocol, as it requires you to release your control over how your breakthrough will manifest. Like the master in the garden, you must reach the point where your only desire is to be in alignment with the source. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of ultimate spiritual strength. It is the moment when you become invincible because you have nothing left to lose and everything to gain. Protocol 6 is the activation of the spoken word. Your words are frequency transmitters. What you declare with your mouth, you anchor in your reality. Stop speaking of your lack, your illness, and your struggle. Start speaking of your abundance, your health, and your victory. Even if you do not see it yet, speak it into existence. This is the technology of creation. Protocol 7 is the anchor of expectation. You must live in a state of vibrant anticipation. Between the prayer and the manifestation, there is a period of waiting. This is not empty time. It is the time when the universe is rearranging itself to accommodate your new frequency. Do not give up on the 6th look at the horizon. The 7th look will reveal the cloud of your breakthrough. But what happens if you follow all the protocols and still nothing seems to change? This is the cliffhanger of the transmutation process. It is the dark night of the soul that occurs just before the dawn. It is the moment when your faith is tested to its absolute limit. But remember the story of the one who looked for rain 7 times. The first 6 times, there was nothing but blue sky. But he did not stop looking. He knew the rain was coming because he had heard the sound of it in his spirit. You must learn to trust your spiritual ears more than your physical eyes. The breakthrough is not a possibility. It is a mathematical certainty for those who remain in alignment. The cloud is forming, even if you cannot see it yet. You have reached the final stage of your initiation, the Red Sea moment. This is the point where you are trapped between the impassable sea in front of you and the approaching army behind you. From a 3D perspective, there is no way out. This is the moment where human effort fails and divine intervention begins. As the Pleiadian transmit, the Red Sea does not part until you take the first step toward it. The miracle is not a passive event, it is a co-creative act. You must have the courage to stand your ground and trust that the source will make a way where there is no way. The very obstacle that seemed destined to be your grave is about to become the path to your freedom. This moment in your life is not about another round of exhausting effort. It is not about trying harder or forcing things to happen. It is about a courageous surrender to the supernatural flow of the universe. You have reached the end of your own strength, and that is exactly where you need to be. When you realize that you cannot do it alone, you finally allow the source to do it through you. This is the secret of the easy yoke and the light burden. When you are in alignment, the universe does the heavy lifting. The doors that were once bolted shut will now swing open of their own accord. The resources you need will appear from unexpected sources. The people who will support your vision will manifest in your reality. The shadow meant this season for your destruction, but the source is using it for your promotion. You have not just survived the fire, you have been authorized by the fire. You are now a sovereign being of light, ready to step into your next level of influence and purpose. The Red Sea of your challenges is about to part, revealing a dry path through the middle of the chaos. You will walk through it with your head held high, and the very things that chased you will be swallowed up by the waters of the old reality. This is your dimensional transition. This is your exodus from the matrix of fear into the kingdom of love. Before the sun sets on this cycle of your life, take a sacred pause. Stand in the center of your own power and declare to the cosmos, I release all fear, I release all doubt, I step into my divine purpose with absolute certainty. My breakthrough is not a distant hope, it is my present reality. Feel the truth of these words vibrating in every cell of your body. You are a starseed, a child of the central sun, and the entire universe is conspiring for your success. The wait is over. The initiation is complete. The path is open. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light.